All right. Maria, clubbing in the COVID era just isn't the same. The pounding music and the flashing lights and the mass of gyrating bodies all moving separately yet together like some sort of amorphous, multi-headed blob creature. The heat, the friction, the flirting with anyone and everyone, that's life at its fullest. But now with masks on most people, special glare at the asshole at the bar, and social distancing the norm, it just doesn't feel right. You and your friends have danced for a while. JoJo was still out there trying her best to keep things going, but this feels weird. Is this weird? Martine's voice over your shoulder makes you jump a little. Only 'cause you just showed up, Alondra says as her eyes meet yours. You both rise as one. Where you going? Martine makes an exaggerated show of his offense. Where you can't follow, Alondra replies, already on the move. You follow, your pumps clicking pleasantly on the dance floor as you follow her toward the restroom. You feel suddenly restless. God, you need a toke. You begin to speak your thought out loud as you push open the door, but your words get caught in your throat as you step through the doorway onto grass. Sunlight dapples a small hill upon which you stand. A stone tower stands at the apex of a hill overlooking a wide expanse of ocean beyond. Waves pound a sliver of beach at the base of one side of the hill. You look wildly behind you in time to see the door close and fade from view in almost perfect synchronicity with a knock sound, except the sound comes from somewhere off in the distance. A gentle slope extends to a road beyond which lies a forest that stretches as far as you can see. Low mountains rise to your left as you face the road. A large smoking crater near the front of the tower is the only thing that mars an otherwise idyllic scene. There are others around, each looking as stunned as you feel. Jim, the blank piece of paper, seems to mock you. Your friend on the online writing group suggested trying to write on paper instead of the computer. It worked for her, after all. You grumble unsavory things about her as your pen doodles in the margin instead of writing words. You know there's a story in there just waiting to come out. So why won't it come out? A scene of a notebook telling its parents, trapper and keeper, that it's gay flashes through your mind, which is mildly amusing, but not what you want to write. You want adventure, excitement, dragons, definitely dragons, swords and magic and kobolds, whatever those are exactly. If only some unseen, unimaginable force would sweep you away to a distant world where magic and mystery abounded. One dramatic pause later, you set down your pen with a sigh, grab your cane, and hobble for bed. 3 months later, long after you've forgotten your impromptu wish, it is granted, at the worst possible moment. You're sitting on the toilet and feel something burble up inside you. You let out an unexpected burp and suddenly find yourself sitting without transition on a grassy hill. Everything around you looks different, smells different, feels different. It's the last of these that really catches your attention. The dull pain in your ankle that has been such a constant companion since the incident, with a capital I, is conspicuous by its sudden absence. Indeed, your body feels years younger and lighter. You look down at yourself and find that you are wearing clothes that, while a little drab in color, you somehow recognize as well stitched from high quality textiles. A long, sturdy pole or staff sits in the grass beside you. As you lift your head, the name Elric flashes through your mind, but you're not sure if it means something to the world you're in or if you're just having a momentary Michael Moorcock flashback. Your thoughts are interrupted by a loud knocking sound as if someone had pounded two coconuts together. Anya, something feels different today. You've gone through all the usual steps. You ate the bland porridge that Sister Calith, who is very sweet but has the cooking skills of a child, made. You gathered herbs from the forest and helped destem and pulverize them. You visited old Margaret down at the turn to clean and redress her gammy leg. Just a normal day, yet you can't feel it is anything but. It's almost like someone is watching you, but you haven't seen anyone acting suspicious. You shake your head and make your way to the well, watching the tiny concentric circles spiral outward from where you touch it with a finger, spoiling the tranquility only to watch it slowly reforms into stillness. It's a soothing balm, usually. Today, as you poke your head over the edge to peer into the water, you are shocked to discover the water is gone, replaced by an impossible yawning emptiness that seems to stretch downward for eternity. You try to pull back, but something pulls at you, drawing you forward, pulling you down. You hear the echoes of your own screams as you begin to fall towards nothingness. Flame shoots out from somewhere or nowhere, consuming you, blinding you, but somehow you feel no pain. A blink later, you're standing once again. The fire is gone, the world is still. A heartbeat later, everything is the same, yet different. You look around the strange landscape, yet feel entirely yourself. The only thing that's different are your clothes, which seem to have been replaced by a heavy shirt made of interlocking metal links and sturdy metal mesh pants, except you're no longer in chainmail, so. A large mace rests in one hand and a larger shield is strapped to your opposite arm. You glance in the polished interior of the shield and see the reflection of yourself. The same face that looks back at you when you stare into the depths of the well stares at you now. As you lower your shield to look around, you hear a faint voice, like a sigh on the wind. Find me. Before you can formulate a thought, you hear a knock, similar to the sound Sister Bethany's head made the time she fell off the step stool and hit her head on the stone flagging floor. Lady Vindleton, this is it, the night you've been waiting for, working for. Years of haughty scorn and sneers, not to mention outright theft of your ideas from your so-called peers. All that time forced to apprentice far longer than your male counterparts, the delays caused by the Great War, all the work to finally buy your own workshop and put into motion your dream. You have covered every contingency, gone through the mass 1,000 times. You're confident, mostly, that it will work. Today, you will make history. Today is the day you will trap lightning. Or, if not, at least you'll get to see a smashing display of power and learn a few more things about this beast called currency that you've been spent your life chasing. As if in response to your thoughts, the sky outside is lit by a flash, followed almost immediately by a low roll of thunder. You find yourself grinning like a madwoman as you yank on your thick rubber gloves and boots, scoop up your device, and hurry out the door. The rain falls in sheets, soaking through your clothes in an instant, but you barely feel it. You hurry to the apex of the hill next to your workshop and raise the contraption over your head. And then you wait, and wait, and wait. Lightning stubbornly ignores your invitation, choosing to mock you instead by flashing everywhere but where you stand. You find yourself tapping a foot in irritation as your arms and shoulders begin to complain. But just when the complaints become too much and you begin to lower your arms, it finally happens. There's a blinding flash accompanied by a boom that makes your ears ring. Then the pain in your arms disappears in an instant. Silence, then, itself deafening in its own way after the blasting storm, though the ringing persists. Oddly, every time you move, you hear a faint whirr. It takes exactly 0.00132 seconds to realize that your currency capturing contraption has disappeared along with the storm. But at least you survived the strike. You look down at yourself to take stock of the damage, and that's when you notice metal and wood, some ceramic pieces. Something makes a soft tick, and you don't see it exactly. It's akin to sensing what seems to be a brief flash of words. They're gone too quickly to read, but more words replace them a moment later. Gallant diagnostic check complete. All functions within normal parameters. You feel fear and amazement. Or do you? Your mind conjures the fact that you should feel those things, but none of the telltale signs betray any such emotion. It takes a few more milliseconds to process that the issue is not what is happening. It is what is not happening. Your skin is not growing clammy because you have no skin to grow clammy. You are not breathing heavily because to do so would require lungs to breathe. Your heart should be beating 100 or more times a second, but you place a hand on your chest. Some sensor tells you your fingers are touching cold metal, while also telling you your chest is being touched. It's not the same as feeling, but it's a close approximation. Your receptors translate nearby vibrations into data and feed the results to you. The net effect is, once again, a close approximation, this time of hearing. In this case, it is the approximate sound of something solid hitting something else that is not quite as solid. Lucy. There's nothing better than a cuppa. Merrily smiles over the edge of her teacup, then frowns and pulls her head back as her glasses begin to fog up. Well, almost nothing. I wish you would stop calling it that. Can't you just say tea instead of that? Angie sips her Twinings Earl Grey and only cringes a little bit at the flavor. Merrily rolls her eyes. What's wrong with cuppa? Of all the English words out there, it might be the most English-ish. That is exactly the problem with it. It's just so common. Angie flips her perfectly coiffed auburn hair for no reason other than dramatic effect. Common? What is this, the 16th century? Although it might as well be, what with Lucy getting married off like some old-time princess. Merrily turns to you just as you're taking a sip of your jasmine white. What's your true love's name? Darius? You choke on the tea and then start coughing. You grope at the table and your fingers find cloth. You pick it up and cover your cough, realizing a moment too late that you picked up your COVID mask instead of a napkin. After the coughing settles down, you set your hands, still clutching the mask, back on the table, brush your blonde hair out of your eyes, and try to answer, but your friends don't seem to be paying attention. They're too busy looking hazy, as has the rest of the patio. It's as if someone added a blur filter, but your phone is on the table. You try to speak again, but you can't hear your own words. All you hear is a distant rushing, like wind through leaves or a locomotive kilometers away. As your brain begins to register that something is wrong and panic begins to fill your heart, the sound of the wind becomes a roar, and with a terrible ripping sensation, everything goes bright white. Then everything becomes somehow just smaller. The world feels less than it seemed. You cannot place your finger on what exactly you're feeling. A moment later, your thoughts catch up to your feelings, and the world resolves into coherence, and the sensation is lost. You sweep your dark hair out of your eyes, your bulging muscles tense and ready as your senses begin to register your surroundings. Just as a moment of confusion begins to tickle the back of your mind, you hear a loud pop, clearly the sound of a club or staff finding satisfying purchase on someone's head. You love that sound? Alyssa! Table readings are the best part of the week. You sit in your seat and just manage to keep from bouncing up and down. The actors are almost at your scene. You can't wait. It will be the twist of the season, maybe the series. No one will see Inspector Hammond's turn towards, and that's it. Good job, everyone. Wait, you think, and then out loud, what? Everyone ignores your protest. The low murmur of conversation fills the room as the actors gather the scripts and stand. You look around until you catch Phil's eyes. He quickly turns away. That bastard! He knew they were cutting your scene. You stand and make a beeline towards him, but he sees you coming and slips out the door, leaving you alone in the rapidly emptying room, your rage your only company. The rat bastard had cut your scene and hadn't even had the decency to tell you. Later that night, you sit at your computer, still fuming. You have to make your own mark. This new girl on the team excuse is wearing thin. It's time to make a stand. A scene fills your head as your fingers begin typing before you're even aware of it. A tower on a hill overlooking an ocean. Maybe a lighthouse. No, lighthouses are cliche. A bell tower. Maybe part of a crude warning system like the beacons of Rohan. The scene sits in front of you so real you can almost feel like you can touch it, like you're standing in the calf-high grass. You can smell the brine of the ocean, tainted by a slight acrid overtone and a slower minerally scent, something faintly like copper or iron. A moment later, you realize your fingers are not typing on anything. It takes your reeling mind another heartbeat to settle enough to see that you are no longer, your thoughts are interrupted by a sudden, as if someone had dropped a piece of wood on the floor. Sonia, it isn't fair. From your childhood until now, it's been life has been attacking you. Your parents, your job, and ironically, as your therapist has chosen to mention a few times, the same field you left because you were disgusted by it, your everything. There had been exactly one bright spot in the stumbling darkness that has marred your life from the beginning, and now Adeline is gone too, taken from you far too early. Your thoughts begin to trace that familiar track again. There had been zero indications that a stroke was even a possibility. You pull yourself back. Your therapist had suggested something to do when your mind started playing these games. The idea had seemed silly, but here against the wall of your life, well, it can't hurt to try. You reach for your shoes, your phone, and your earbuds and head out the door. Jogging to something other than music feels alien and boring at first. In fact, jogging to the sounds of nature just seems weird considering you're already jogging outside, although the roads and sidewalks aren't exactly nature. You reach for the phone as you turn the corner, getting set to switch to something with a beat so you can time your steps to better, but then it begins to work. You hear a breeze rustling through grass, the sound of waves crashing on a distant beach. In a moment, it seems so real that you can imagine you're running on grass instead of hard pavement, that the smell of cars and roads are gone, replaced by fresh air with only a tinge of acrid burning lingering in the edges of your senses. Your mind wanders to thoughts of nature, to ocean waves pounding on a beach, of rain on broad leaves. For some reason, the rhythm of that phrase sticks and your jogging adjusts to the perfect staccato beat. Rain on broad leaves, rain on broad leaves, rain on broad leaves. So engrossed are you that you could swear you can now smell the brine of the ocean on the air, which is odd because the Pacific is 200 miles away. Gradually, the thought that something isn't quite right bubbles to the surface of your mind. Just as your reverie begins to break and your surroundings begin to take shape, you come to a sudden halt as you slam face first into something painfully solid. You're thrown to the ground and take roll a die 4. Our first roll of the game. Dun, dun, dun.
And it is a 4.
It is a 4. You take 2 points of damage. Bludgeoning.
Great.
As you lay there in the thick grass with an unexpected stone wall looming above you, you hear a distant pop as if someone had just opened a champagne bottle somewhere behind you. Mo! It's cloudy. Of course it is. The one night you needed the sky to be clear. Not that it's a surprise. It's not like you hadn't been checking the weather for days or been so preoccupied by the weather radar at work that Bob from accounting had managed to scare the hell out of you while you stared at your phone in your cubicle. Swift Tuttle's annual gift, the Perseids, the most spectacular event of the year. And tonight, the crescendo, the grand finale, except it's not really the finale, the grand centrale, perhaps. And you're missing it because of clouds. It wasn't supposed to be this way. You had put in for vacation specifically for this week, so you could go to a place where the city lights wouldn't dim the show, where clouds were rare, where you could have stayed up the entire night, watching the meteors rain from heaven, finishing it in a perfect way a night could be when you're stuck on this ball of mud with a pre-dawn viewing of Venus at 46 degrees west. Then Tom had denied your request because Shelley was taken the same week, even though you know you put your request in first. You don't even do the same job. You take a deep breath and step away from the telescope. It's no use getting angry about it. With the city lights as bright as they are, it would have been a disappointing show anyway. You failed to convince yourself. You make your way to bed, trying to convince your brain to switch off and let you rest. You count spaceships rocketing toward the sky, toward freedom. Eventually, you fall into fitful sleep. Your dream is an odd one. Instead of flying around the stars, you're on the ground. But at least the sun is up. A worn stone tower stands on top of a hill. You can hear the sound of ocean waves somewhere close by. You can smell brine on the air. A name floats, seemingly apropos of nothing, through your mind. St. Yuma. It's weird, whatever this dream is, but at least it's not the one about the copier machine. Your thoughts are interrupted by a thunk, like the sound of a roll of wrapping paper makes when you hit it against something solid, like another roll of wrapping paper, only louder. Elisandra. Durant has done it again. His spear grazes the shoulder of the giant auroch instead of piercing its hide. In all your time and all the places you have been, of all the people you have met, Durant may just be the dumbest. The giant bull lowers its head and charges. Coward that he is, Durant leaps out of the way, which means the creature's horns are now directed at you. The mighty hooves drive closer and closer until you can see the glint of the sun on its beady dark eyes. You brace yourself, your own spear set, ready to show Durant how it's done. You're sure you are prepared for the impact, and you thrust with all your might, even as the world flashes and booms around you. You feel your spear strike, and the thrill of the hunt trills through your body. It quickly sours when you're focused on your kill to find not an auroch, but a strange green little thing. It somehow manages a high-pitched despite its caved-in skull before falling limp. As it crumbles to the ground, its hand slips off its own spear, which, you notice as your brain begins to unravel from the web of confusion, is embedded in the side of a red-haired woman. She stares down at the blood gushing from the wound and up with you with wide, disbelieving eyes. Terps, she whispers a word before collapsing to the ground. The word sparks something in your head, a cacophony of conflicting memories. Out of it rises a name, Terpsichora. It feels at once alien yet familiar. You lower your spear, noting dimly that not actually a spear anymore, but a 10-foot-long pole. In your confusion, you stomp your back hoof and flick your tail, which is when it dawns on you that everything is different. Your torso melds into fur-covered hips that themselves extend to strong, lengthy legs that end in hooves. You tower over almost all the others nearby. Your butt feels huge. For everyone, upon looking around, you notice what you've been too distracted to see before. 2 dead women lie crumpled on the ground. One is at the bottom of a blackened crater. She wears a simple linen robe and cloth shoes, all of which look incongruously clean considering the spot of her apparent demise. A broken and burned staff lays next to her. The second body sprawls at the edge of the crater, fresh blood still oozing from the spear wound in the side that took her life. The small green thing, the word goblin flashes through all your minds as you see it, lays near her hand. You can see a figure standing somewhat distantly next to a cart at the edge of the road. The tower rises above, staring over the crashing waves of an ocean that sits at the base of the hill and stretches as far as the eye can see.
Yeah. Can we all just give Soon a round of applause for that? Because that was freaking awesome.
That was cool. We was laughing at my icon.
All right, so I was going to describe you all, but I figured you'd all do better at that. So why don't everyone go through and just kind of describe what you're seeing of yourself, and let's get into the story.
Maria is, well, a snake woman. Half of her is what appears to be a long, very thick snake's body. The upper half appears to be distinctly female. As she looks around rather wildly, confused, you can see perhaps, a couple little fangs in her mouth, the fact her cheeks are very sharp and angular, and the snake-slit eyes that peer from a surprisingly human face. And she's saying some words that you don't really know what they mean. Well, you don't know what they are, but you can pretty much figure out what they mean. Her hair's long and dark and tied back. She's wearing, well, not a whole lot, but it's very pretty, and as she, kind of shouts and swears, and you see her lower body start to move, and then she kind of looks down, screams, and pretty much falls flat over on her face. What the hell?
Jim blinks at the sky once, then twice. He gradually sits up, looks down at his body. Yeah, I haven't been this thin since before college. Looks at his hands. They're not his hands. He slowly eases himself up, still cautious of his ankle. The pain is gone, but he doesn't trust it. So he uses his staff, like a cane, in order to get onto his feet. He looks around and he sees... Wow. 22 years service in Florida, and I finally found something too strange for me to even describe. Jim is awestruck and just sort of stands there at the moment. Except for making sure his pants are done up.
Among everyone assembled here is a massive bipedal elephant wearing white and green robes, and with slate gray skin, holding a shield with with an elaborate decoration on it. And the elephant looks around at everyone, and then says to herself in a deep, somewhat booming, but still recognizably female voice, "Am I dreaming? What is all of this? Hello?" And the elephant waves at all of you.
Maria just kind of blinks and looks up from the mud and blinks again and goes, "Holy fucking shit, it's a bar." And then kind of falls flat on her face again, trying to pull herself up.
The fiery red-headed woman in half plate looks a little confused, and then shakes her head and seems remarkably even-keeled about the whole situation, seeming to have decided that whatever she's going through, this is just one more test, one more trial, one more thing she has to get through. She resembles nothing if not a red-headed fuzzy caterpillar. Obviously untamed, wild curly hair, deep blue eyes. She stands about 5'10", so she's relatively tall for a human, but relatively short compared to the rest of you. Except the tabaxi.
Well, off to this red-headed side, there is a lot of what sounds like metallic tapping, and it's quick and it's weird, and if you look to the side, you see this tall, weird person. You can't see him exactly at first, but once the light catches, you can see that they're not exactly human. Their hands are bound. There's weird metal and everything. Their face looks like it's a combination of old tin cans and porcelain with weird etchings all over it. And you can see them just reaching into their shirt and trying to feel everything. And their expression is really not there, because you don't know how to express feelings without muscles here. But you can just tell that this is weird. This is very weird. They don't like this. Where's my heart? They're still panicking. So they don't exactly see anyone just yet. So it's rather chaotic in that point.
So among the other figures there is a cat person. So they are distinctly feline. And if you were going to pin their color and pattern on a real-life cat, it would be a clouded leopard. So brown, black spots, kind of perpetually startled looking. Indeed, she's probably actually startled looking, because she's starting to look down at herself and her hands and her feet and go, holy shit, why do I have fur?
You're going to see what looks like a horse with a female slapped on where the head should be, looking around like, what? I don't, and looking at the dead person in front of her. And I'm going to post pictures so you can see what the two parts of her look like. The horse end is kind of a dappled gray, between a dappled gray and a blue roan, with long swishy tail and swishy feet. You got, the big old feathers on her feet. Where her body is, where the horse's head is her hair actually kind of blends into what would be the mane, so her hair kind of flows down her back. And her human torso looks something similar, except for red hair. The hair is more of that same kind of blue-gray color, and she is very highly tattooed all over. And she's holding a quarterstaff like she knows what to do with it, but wondering why she's holding a quarterstaff to begin with, as she looks around and kind of flinches and freaks out every time her tail seems to swat its own ass.
Ooh, this is. I don't think I'm gonna do that voice because it would probably sound dumb. Although I do voices. You all seem rather interesting. Ooh, is that a robot?
What's a robot?
Over there! No, they're running. They're walking away. Wait a second, robot, come back here!
The head kind of perks up and just looks, and finally get to see just like these two incredibly like bright eyes. I beg your pardon?
Well, Jim, it finally happened. You've clearly died of a stroke. Oh, man, I died on the freaking toilet. Oh, no one's going to find me till the smell gets reported. They're going to come in. Oh, please don't let it be anyone I know.
Maria has now managed to push herself up out of the mud and kind of scrape some of it off her face, and she's holding herself up. She seems to be having a little trouble managing, having gone from walking 2 legs in heels to, a single leg or something. And just kind of looks around and is just staring like, orderly, I'm gonna kill him. Martini put something in my fucking drink, that pendejo. And she just keeps rubbing her eyes and looking around and looks back at her tail again and screams some distinctly Catholic flavored obscenity.
Oh my.
What? Who said that? What?
Hi, I'm over here. Here with the robot. This is neat. Yeah, I was just saying oh my to the swearing. Hello?
Saint fucking Mary.
So at one end of the field, you see a half-orc woman who's about 6'5", very muscled, has long black hair that's shaved on the left side and braided down the right side, several piercings, and she's dressed a bit like a pirate. She's got a white shirt with puffy sleeves that's a button down that's rolled up to her elbows, and the first several buttons are undone, and floofy blue pants and a pirate hat. And she sort of blinks and touches her head like she's getting a migraine and says, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god."
Hello, robot lady? I can't believe I'm talking in a dream.
The centaur is going to look at the elephant person, kind of blink, and say, "Mammoth spirit, what happened to your hair?"
Mammoth? Oh, was one of you calling me? Oh, are you? Oh my gosh, are you a centaur? Ah, and hey, you're an orc, like in Warcraft.
Wait, Warcraft? Someone? What?
Oh, this is one hell of a dream.
Am I the only one who's noticing the corpses on the ground?
No.
Corpses? What?
Fur! Why?
Maria is just getting herself pulled up, and she leans very heavily on Annie. And like her lower half seems to be wobbling very shakily back and forth, although she's very slowly just managing to keep her balance now.
Excuse me. A pirate didn't. Can someone check if their heart's working, please? I don't seem to have a heart.
You what? Oh, well, I'm looking at these. Oh my god, one of them's bleeding. Could somebody check on? Could someone check on her? What happened here anyway?
I can come check in just a minute, but I am currently propping someone up. Someone want to help her stand so I can go see what's going on?
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
sure. Struggles to walk, trying to use his staff like a cane. He hasn't a hand to it. He'll plant it, using it to support himself, and use the other hand to help Maria up. Don't worry, miss. We'll, wow, you're a snake lady. Okay. You're fine. Don't worry. Okay, everybody, show of hands. If you're having a dream right now, put them up. Let me count. Jim raises his own hand.
Well, I don't know if you can see my hand in here, but I am.
My head looks like a skeleton's head. I don't know.
Anya raises her hand, which she hasn't yet quite figured out how to attach the shield to her back, so she's mostly waving her shield in the air.
Lucy goes to raise her hand, but then catches sight of her hand and just kind of stares at it for a long moment.
Son, could I make a couple of medicine checks on these bodies?
Which one are you doing first?
The one that's right in the middle of the crater.
Alright. She appears to be dead.
Oh my gosh, this one's dead. Hey, whoever said you were gonna take a look at the other one, yeah, looks like we have a problem here. I'm gonna go see if the robots are okay. Oh my god, this is cool.
Nothing about this is cool. Anya is 100% in healer mode at this point. So making presumably medicine checks on the body that is right in front of her.
Yep. With a 13, the blood has slowed down to a trickle. If the spear had stayed in, she might still be alive, but unfortunately too much blood has escaped from the wound, and so she is recently deceased.
Okay. I am going to cast Spare the Dying. Which, if she is not deceased, will stabilize her, and if she is deceased, will keep her body from decomposing further while we have a chance to look around.
Alright, you cast Spare the Dying, and the body, there's a slight glimmer about it, but there's no signs of reviving.
And then she's going to hop down into the crater, presuming it is not taller than she is, and do the same for the woman at the bottom of the crater.
The crater is about 4 feet.
Okay, then hopping down is the appropriate verb.
Maria kind of just looks at Alaric and seems to be calming down a little bit.
Just lean back. Try to think you're a cobra, alright? The cobra sort of pulls back and spreads.
Okay, what are you trying to say to me?
I don't really know. I was in my bathroom 5 minutes ago. Now I'm here trying to coach a snake lady. Frankly, you horrify me, but you also seem to need help, and well, it's just proper to let my...
I what to you, Cabrera? What did you just say to me? I'm stuck here. What? And she kind of trails off into a bunch of angry Spanish.
It smiles. All right, you're getting it. Can I let go of you now? Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay, silly question. Has everyone tried pinching themselves yet? And Jim will just sort of try to pinch his arm, see if it wakes himself up.
I have no flesh! How do I do that?
It hurts as if someone's pinching you.
Honestly, I'd rather not wake up.
Well, I certainly would. And Lucy tries to pinch herself, and when that doesn't work, she holds back her hair and vomits on the ground.
This woman kind of imitates the motion of taking in her breath, but as she does that, she realizes she also has no lungs, and it sends her off into another thing. But she kind of tries steady out enough to look at this huge elephant. Why are you standing on 2 feet? You shouldn't be doing that. And it's just a very... What's going on?
Your guess is as wait. Why should I be on all fours? What?
You're an elephant.
What's an elephant?
I am. Wait a minute. Oh my god! I'm actually. I'm an elephant. Oh, I haven't had a dream this good in a long time.
Except from my perspective, the same is true about you, and it can't be true for all of us. Unless this is somehow a shared dream.
Oh no.
Okay.
Just to interrupt slightly, Anya, if you want to make another medicine check for the one in the crater.
Yes.
Oh, all right. Okay, for everyone here, what day was it?
It was St. Catherine's Day.
August 12th, 2020.
Same.
2020, yeah.
August 12th, 2020, yeah.
This is interesting. Not all of you are from the same time, and I guess that's that explains the tower and a robot next to a centaur and a snake lady and me and huh.
The last year I remembered was 1910.
Oh damn.
Anya, with a 10, the body seems surprisingly not burned, considering it's in a crater that has clearly seen some sort of explosiveness. So
Okay, I'm going to cast...
Sure.
Again, casting Spare the Dying.
Give me a wisdom check.
That's a natural 20.
It certainly is. So yes,
It's one of the campaign.
not only are you able to cast Spare the Dying, even though you wouldn't have known what that was a moment ago, you start getting sort of a feel for some of your abilities, so you'll be less likely to stumble upon, wait, what am I doing, coming up in the future.
There's a way to test this. Who? Okay, one person who said that they're also from August 12th, 2020. Who else said that?
Me?
He raises his hand.
Lucy raises her hand.
Okay. The orc. I haven't spoken to you yet. Hello. Okay. If you're from the same time as me, and if you're not just part of my dream, then you should know something that I couldn't possibly know. Just give me a second, and I'll think of a question.
But if you don't know it, how would she know if she got it right, though?
Good point.
I'm sorry. What did you call me?
I called you an orc. Green skin, tusks, dark greenish hair. You're an orc woman, like just like in Warcraft.
What the bloody hell are you talking about?
The centaur will speak up and go, I don't know what this year all of you are talking about. It's the warming season. Going into the hot season soon. Time to begin your hunting again. To restock from the cold winter, cold darks.
All right, I've got it. Robot lady, sorry. What's your name?
Which do you mean?
Oh, you've got. Oh, yeah. Well, I guess that's consistent. Your name before you got here.
There's a little bit of thinking, and the eyes kind of narrow, but the eyelids don't exactly move. But she looks back up. My sister, all my colleagues call me Lady V because apparently my name is weird. But Lady V.
All right, Lady V, and Yuna's going to stare directly into her eyes. I know what my name was before I came here. Do you know what it is?
Sir, what, sir, ma'am, ma'am, sorry, I was alone when I was working, so unfortunately, I don't know who the hell you are.
And Miss, you with the red hair. I don't know you either. Do you know me?
I've never seen any of you before. Well, I at least look like me.
Has everyone introduced themselves?
I've definitely never seen you before, so that means this is real. Oh my god. So all of you are, oh my god. Could we all just gather together like she just said? Maybe just get acquainted, because yeah, this is real. We're not dreaming.
I don't know how not knowing one another means it's a dream.
Climbing up the hill, looking very confused, is a very, very small human-like figure. In your minds, the word halfling just kind of flops through. She notices that you're now noticed her, so she hurries up her pace. But she's out of breath when she gets to the top of the hill.
Now, who the fuck is this?
What are you... Is it done?
The fuck is done?
Who are you?
Who am I? Did you rescue him? She looks around wildly with an expectant look on her face.
Rescue who? What do you know about what's going on here?
He's not here. You haven't rescued him yet?
Ma'am, my apologies. I'm Jim Pratchett, PD retired. We seem
who?
to have experienced.
You said your name was Elric.
Okay, too. We're sorting that out.
Another reality. We hired you. The reality is, we hired you to rescue the mayor of our town, Merc. He came out here to investigate goblins, and I see they're... Oh dear, is she okay? She points at the dead body by the crater.
Anya just shakes her head.
Oh,
the other one's dead too.
There's another. She looks around. She doesn't.
Yeah, right in the crater behind us.
Oh, that's so sad. I'm sorry for your loss.
Hey,
And if you don't want to do the job, we hired you hoping to get him back, but maybe other people will come by sometime. It'll probably be too late, but...
Hey, let's just humor us for a second. Act as if we all just suffered amnesia, which for all you know, and really actually happened. What's your name? What did you hire us to do?
Okay. I'm Sugi Boofhoff. You can just call me Sugi. I'm the mayor's assistant. You're at the West Beacon Hill. We hired you all just 2 days ago to come out here and investigate the tower here because Mayor Merc had come out here to investigate if there were goblins that we had been hearing about, and we haven't heard from him since. So we told you we'd give you 50 gold, and you agreed to it, and you came out here, and some goblins came out of the tower, and there was fighting, but I stayed over there because I didn't want to get hurt, and you told me to stay back. And then it was just silence, and now you've all just kind of been wandering around. So I just came up to see if everything was okay, and it appears it's not. Again, I'm so sorry for your loss. I didn't know.
And you don't recognize you don't know of these other two who were with us?
Yes, I recognize all of you. We hired you to check on the goblins and rescue our mayor.
I mean,
Yes, but
the two dead ones.
Well, I mean, I see. Yes, I know them. I mean, in as much as I know any of you, you did just come into town, not long ago.
Are any of us not like famous or anything? Like, do you know? How did you hire us?
You came to town. You said you were looking for jobs, and we had a job. So that's Sunchas, the poor deer on the edge. She was very nice. I can't see her, but I assume that Kamoka is the one in the hole. She was also very nice.
So this is like in the video games. The adventurers come into towns, they take the jobs. We're the adventurers, right?
the hell is a video game? I didn't think they'd have mercenaries anymore.
Well, why wouldn't there still be mercenaries? Mercenaries all over.
Sugi, have you ever heard of any instances of people suddenly not remembering themselves or thinking that they're completely different people, or people just vanishing inexplicably?
I'm no mind doctor. You'd have to go to the big cities to talk to the wizards about things like that. Or the priests. Maybe the priests know.
Wizards, as in like magic, as in magic is a real thing.
Like yourself, sir. Yes.
Maria is just jaw dropped expression on her face right now, like, huh?
Like yourself. Like the others. She motions at Maria. Like poor Komoko was.
Whatever has come over all of us, we are incredibly bewildered right now. You said we were to find someone. Well, all I'm seeing here is ourselves, our two dead allies, and some other small they're goblins, a couple of goblins near the tower. They look dead too.
Yes.
There's one down here as well.
Everyone, this is as confusing and scary as amazing. I get it, but maybe if we all stick together and at least try to find some grounding in where we are right here, right now, maybe together we can try and piece the rest in as we go along. Does that sound like a good idea?
Looking at this logically, whatever caused the switch was probably something magical, and it probably came from the tower. Maybe if we go into the tower, we can find the mayor, and possibly whatever magical doodad switched us, we can use it to switch back.
Magic is a myth. That makes no sense.
I admit I am grasping at straws, but I'd rather take action than standing here in the rain.
You said that, Sugi, you said that our pointy-eared friend here, Jim, that he has magic.
Yes,
Okay,
he's a wizard.
try and if you have magic, then try and use it.
Sugi looks suddenly nervous and starts backing away.
Hey, I told you it's likely that or not likely, it's possible that we've all been affected by something, maybe some kind of magic that altered our minds. Just
backs away faster.
Wait!
I'll be over here by the edge of the road if you need something. I don't want to lose my memory.
You know what? Under the circumstances, I can't blame you for that. Okay.
Now she's kind of running as fast as her little legs can get her. She gets to the tree and just kind of sits down, huffing.
Maria just kind of rolls her eyes and mutters something about Karens.
All right, Jim. I get. According to Sugi, you've got magic. You got anything?
Well, okay, I've read a lot of Jim Butcher books. I have a staff I carry Dresden. Maybe if I say something in Latin and try to will the magic to happen, maybe I should draw a circle first and... Okay, yeah. Jim starts drawing a circle in the ground, and he tries to seal it with an act of will. Latin's going to help, but what do you want me to use the magic to do?
Yeah, that's a... well...
Light it up?
See if you can locate our... the mayor. Like, I don't know, concentrate on the idea of find Mayor Merc.
Alright. Jim steps into a circle. What is Latin for find mayor?
The Latin is inveniet for find. That's the imperative.
Okay. Jim stands in a circle, holds the staff high. Inveniet mayor! And because what he really wants to find is magic, we're going to see if he can cast Detect Magic.
All right. Roll a performance check. You feel kind of silly standing in a circle on the ground.
Yeah, I'm not getting anything.
Did the crazy Karen lady say I could do magic?
Crazy Karen. I'm not sure, actually. What's the first thing that comes to mind, aside from how insane all of this is? Just like feel it out?
Maria looks down at their hands and looks at the air and takes a deep breath and says, well, what the hell, maybe if I concentrate. I guess basically going to try to cast Gust.
All right, how about a survival check? You do feel just the slightest breeze kind of kick up the hem of whatever you might be wearing.
Maria kind of yelps, and then that, she's still startled by what happens because she definitely felt something. And it's like, what falls over again?
Oh, also, everyone! I have a user's manual!
Wait, what?
Jim holds up his spellbook. Well, check and see if you have one of these. I don't quite understand the language, but for some reason I can still read it, and he starts flipping through the pages.
Anya looks incredibly interested as soon as there's a book on scene.
Lucy looks around her person and through her bag and says, I'm thinking perhaps you're the only one with a book. So if you could let us know what it says so that maybe we can get a hold on ourselves, that would be appreciated.
Anya, are you looking at the book?
Yes.
All the symbols on it that you don't even recognize as words, just seem to kind of move around incoherently.
Well, I don't have one of those. I've got a. Don't really have any books with me, but I've got this neat shield with a symbol on it. Maybe it's a heraldry of some kind, like from a kingdom. I don't know.
Anya, after just having figured out how to rack the shield on her back, attempts to unrack the shield to see if it has anything painted on it.
I'd like to try to cast guidance.
Okay, who are you casting it on?
She's looking for inner guidance, trying to figure herself out. So guidance on myself then.
Okay. Wisdom check.
Ooh.
You can kind of feel the duality of yourself, but you feel more connected to yourself, to your other self, than you did a moment ago. You also just get sort of a feeling of, just kind of a feeling of loneliness from the other Yuna.
Anya is going to call over to Sugi and see if she can pull some dead branches out from underneath of the trees. And also, we should all probably head towards the trees, because as much as I love standing in the rain, the humidity is really not good.
Sugi holds out her arms, which you can barely see because they're so short, and says, "What?"
Firewood!
She points at the tree. "The branch is a little high for me to reach, but feel free."
Anything on the ground?
"No. There is the forest on the other side of the road, so you could probably find something there."
Why don't I go take a look? Maybe. I mean, I'm pretty tall. Maybe I can just break some branches off for you.
Well, okay, but fresh branches won't burn, not even with magic.
Maybe there's firewood inside the tower.
That's a good that we should check. I don't know if we can all fit. And Anya takes a startled look around her, realizing just how much larger than she is everyone in this party is.
Given the goblin bodies, for all we know, they've got archers or something just ready to snipe us in there.
No, they would have by now. We've been out here discussing for several minutes. There's some sort of laws of goblin honor that dictate they're not allowed to shoot people that are looking around confused.
Just saying, strange place, cramped tower, goblins. And we're all very unsure of ourselves right now.
Let's get to the tower to start.
To be clear on this, this tower out here is not really to scale. It's much larger than that. That tower looks like one of you would fit in it. So
yeah, that was
like
my concern.
Just stand in there. It looks large enough to hold you.
Let's go to the tower.
Yes, I'm a fan of getting out of the elements, I must say.
Sonia, are you perhaps stealthy? Maybe you could go... He makes little steppy motions with his hands. Sneak into the tower? Scout for us?
Maybe?
I'll stay nearby and I'll try to back you up with my, stick.
This is how my character dies horribly in the first game.
Or I'll be right there with you.
So Sonia will slowly get up off the ground where they were sitting in a confused heap, and try to go check out the tower all sneaky like.